First of all, if you see it like this, it's because the sun is booming right now. But in the midnight glow where the stars align, we lose ourselves in the rhythm divine. Of course, there's music and noise and everything today, and roosters most of all. So just hope that everything kind of goes well. So today I'm going to be painting, and I'm going to be talking about what it's like to manage stress and anxiety and everything in between, because I know it's pretty difficult to do. And I'm also doing something different because I'm outside painting instead of inside where I usually am for everything. And maybe it's going to sound crazy, maybe it's not, maybe the audio is going to be booty, maybe it's not, who knows, but I definitely just wanted to do something different, kind of set myself in a different atmosphere, amazing like uncharted space up here that feels so much more calming than any other place that I know. So that's kind of why I love to be up here when I can. I used to like look at the sunrise because I saw that looking at the sunrise when you wake up is one of the things that can help with depression. So I did, and it does make me feel good. But the sun is also very much booming. So let's get to painting. Firstly, I searched up like a bunch of possibly, we'll see if you guys can, but I was just looking up literally easy things to paint because I don't want to make it so difficult where I feel kind of discouraged. So I am just going to paint something that's nice. I do have a cup of water here, and I am going to start with a skyline type sky color, because do you see how beautiful this is? Let's try to emanate that right here. I wanted to bring my little splotch board, but I was excited to get up here, and with that, I left it downstairs, and I am not going back down. I have made the commitment to be here, so I'm gonna stay right here. Ooh, I need to buy another one of these because genuinely, you cannot do anything right without white acrylic. By the way, this is already painted with white acrylic. And that has been the only prep work that I did. And it wasn't even me now that even thought about this prep work. It was me last time I was trying to do a last painting. And then I just felt kind of like unmotivated and unhappy. So then I just stopped painting, which is something that I really want to talk about today because Lord, are we so hard on ourselves all the time? Why are we so hard on ourselves? Especially me. I am queen of being way too hard on myself. This past week has felt like a bunch of ups and downs emotionally more than anything, because like I felt like, girl, not my easel being stiff. Okay, let me see. So I felt like this week kind of was kicking my butt. Emotionally, I had like a lot of ups and downs. I felt really dumb in my endocrinology class because while I was presenting, which I do go to a Spanish school, so because I go to a Spanish school, I'm always speaking in Spanish. And though Spanish was my first language at one point, I lived my entire life and still live my entire life in the United States. So I speak English as my primary language. And when I left DR, I was 4 or 5 years old. So my connection to the language again didn't happen like, you know, until I was older. Besides speaking at home with my parents, I didn't really need to use Spanish on a regular everyday to day basis. So because of that, I have a really hard time presenting because I do get nervous in both languages while I'm presenting. I feel like I'm always just nervous in general. I'm a nervous presenter, but nothing makes me more nervous than when one, a teacher interrupts you while you're in the middle. I feel like my language genuinely just stops working and I don't know how to speak English. I don't know how to speak Spanish. I don't know how to speak anything. So it makes me super, super, super duper, 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 duper self-conscious. And I just felt like I bombed the presentation. Um, and that made me feel real sad. I'm not gonna lie. I felt really, really down about myself, which then led to like a bunch of mental abuse within my own brain about how I'm not good enough, how I shouldn't have ever came, and how uh, I am like in the wrong place. I don't, I'm useless. A bunch of very much like negative self-talk. And I think for someone like me who's always been a perfectionist, this has been an extremely like difficult experience when it comes to like kind of just how do I say this? Like it's been a really hard experience when it comes to um, confronting just how little I am used to the environment that I have been currently in for a long time. There's always small reminders. I always feel like I'm either like 3 steps forward or like 8 steps back because I'm constantly reminded that I am still a foreigner. One, in the country that I have claimed so heavily to be my country. I also have moments of feeling like a foreigner and feeling like I don't belong in my other country, which is the US. I feel like I'm constantly faced with the idea of being like a fish out of water. And I thought that I was getting a hang of it, you know, like I was like, oh, like I'm finally not so scared to speak Spanish. I'm not so bad at presenting. Like I don't stumble on my words as much. I stumbled so much in that presentation. I felt like the teacher was gonna stop me and tell me I was dumb. She interrupted a lot, but she does that to every single person who presents. So it's not like a targeted thing, but it does, you know, feel horrible in the moment because it felt like I was doing so bad that the teacher just was like, I have to fucking come in and explain things. Let me let that dry very quickly before I start adding more things. I want to add like some clouds next. I've changed locations and I also got a little back brace because I have back problems. But anyway, also my camera does overheat and it's not used to feeling the heat of the world on it. But it did give me time for this to like literally fully dry. Shout out to the Dominican sun. But yeah, I want to feel like here's the right place. Y'all can see it clearly here. Should I do it this way or this way? I don't know. Clearly, I'm not a professional, obviously. I'm gonna do some little clouds. Where is this? Over here. Just know that I have felt so incredibly anxious as of lately. I've been waking up feeling like what it's a debate on whether I am the worst person in the world or I suck at everything or I've just been so critical and I I haven't like done anything to try and like just calm myself down from this constant judgment that I'm putting on myself. Like I genuinely feel like this week I've just been on one when it comes to like self-judgment. And so I felt like this little paint sesh was such a necessary thing for me because I was just like, if I don't do this or if I don't do something to calm myself down, I'm gonna have like a mental breakdown. So I just kind of wanted to come here and talk about that because I know it can be difficult for everyone who's going through every type of situation could possibly go through, who knows, to feel like there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I think I've gone through so many breakdowns in my life that now I don't really question whether the light is at the end of the tunnel. Like, it's there. It's just that, like, right now I'm taking a detour in the tunnel. I'm exploring it more. Like, I'm diversifying my tunnel experience. And I just felt so unlike myself. That idea or that feeling of feeling useless trapped my head, trapped my reality. Why are these clouds coming out like this? Let me just casually. I am not a profesh painter, even though I would love to spend like some time in like art school or something, doing something that's actually like creative. Anyway, let me get back on topic. I decided to do this paint sesh because one of the things that will help you calm down throughout any situation is doing things that tend to be relaxing when you do feel good. So for me, my feel good tasks tend to always be with creativity. And I also felt like I was like falling behind on my creativity. Like, I was just letting like all of the other tasks that I wanted to get done and all of the other goals that I had like start piling up. And then it felt like the goals that I had and the goals that I wanted became another chore and another priority. And I got lost. And I feel like that's a constant theme. And I'm pretty sure in most people's lives that the feeling of being lost for a while and getting lost in things that even that in the beginning felt like amazing. I felt like when I entered college to become a doctor, it was something that almost felt surreal. It felt surreal because my entire life I said that I wanted to be a doctor, but I said it with little assurance of my own capabilities. Anxiety is one of the true thieves of joy, in my opinion. And it's the constant feeling of inadequacy and self-loathing that's so unnecessary for the process of how difficult life is already on its own. Most of the time, the critical moments of your life, anxiety creeps up and makes you feel like everything you have ever done ever in your life was the worst thing possible for your growth, for everything. It makes you feel like you are not God's gift to earth. And I want you to be very, very, very self-assured at the end of this, at least at the end of our talk, that you are meant to be here. And though you may have whatever feelings you may have, because trust me, I have them too. Life hack. Use this while it's wet and you can get grass strokes much better. And I use 2 different types of greens. But anxiety is the thief of true content in your own life. Like, you are exactly where you need to be. You are doing exactly what you need to do. And if you feel like you're not getting enough from life, or you're not getting enough from your experiences, then literally take the step to do something different. I think we get so caught up in the boxes and the bubbles that our brains limit ourselves to, that we kind of forget that, like, we're the ones in charge here. Like, we're the ones that make the rules, you know? The way I'm able to combat anxiety, and it's not something that I would say is super conventional, is by one, allowing myself the time to wallow. That means, like, if my brain is telling me that the world is going to end and everything is terrible, I am not going to go against my brain in that exact moment. I'm going to give myself, whether it be a few hours, a few minutes, whatever it may take for me, but what I'm going to give myself that time to be like, you know what? The world is ending. Everything is garbage. Everything is like not um not working out, and it sucks, you know? Like, I have to give myself that time to be okay with expressing that my insatisfaction with whatever happened to make me unsatisfied. The reason why I give myself that time is because I have to acknowledge and I have to be okay with the idea that I am not always going to think that everything is okay. Like, I am perfectly normal, acknowledging the fact that I have moments where I believe everything is not going to work out, because I can't live in a world where I have this only thought where everything is going to work out and everything's going to be okay, because most of the time, especially with my anxious brain, that's just not something that I can see as feasible. You have to give your brain the time to catastrophize first. You need to tell yourself that everything's wrong because you need a starting point, and you're not going to get it, and you're not going to get all of the satisfaction of fixing if you don't have a problem to begin with. And as much as people want to say that you need to live your life in peace and in harmony and everything is going to work out, and you need to tell yourself that everything's going to work out, the only reason why you need to tell yourself that everything's going to work out is because you feel like it's not going to. You wouldn't need to remind yourself of something, and nobody would have to consult you about reminding yourself of something if that was a organic thought originally. Most of the people who I see that are super enlightened now were not super enlightened when they were in their 20s. You see a sense of peace come to them at like the age of 50, 60, 70, or even older. And I think that's all because their life story is coming to a period of like relaxation. I know that I am not in my point of relaxation yet in my story. I still have a whole lot of hectic years. And so all I can do is kind of remind myself that I need to go back to earth. I need to come back down from the crisis that I'm in, and there's always going to be a way to fix it. If you don't have a problem to fix, then what's the point of life? Because I feel like we're always trying to find something to do and fix, because the reason why we have this idea of not being satisfied where we are right now is because what's the point of staying content right now with what your reality is, instead of actually going and fixing it and doing something different, you know? It's like, if you reach contentment right now with every situation and you are perfectly fine living like this for the rest of your life, then I feel like you cut yourself off from growth and from change and from other challenges. I know I'm a mess, and I plan to stay a mess for a really long time in my life. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to feel lost. I'm going to feel like I don't belong for a really long time. And that's completely and totally healthy. I don't understand why for a really long time I felt like I was searching for the answer of how not to feel the way my body organically feels towards situations that are uncomfortable. It's like, Yeah, some days it doesn't make sense why I wake up with so much anxiety because that day was no different than yesterday, but there's still reasons to everything. And maybe just the day before, the things that happened to me didn't affect me or didn't change my mind as much as it did when it was like today or whatever. Like, I'm not going to try and fix the feelings that I have because there is nothing to fix. I'm perfectly fine being the catastrophizer for the time being because I know that this is the time to catastrophize in my head. This is the time where I have the energy to feel like the world is ending. Like, so I'm gonna enjoy it while it's there, even though it doesn't feel the greatest. Because like yesterday, I was like, oh my god, I feel fucking terrible. I don't even know why I feel terrible. Like, I just feel terrible. Today, I felt like, it's not terrible, but it's also not the best either. Like, this is the time and the energy that I have to be able to feel like this. This is a time where I'm figuring out that like my mom probably still feels like that. My dad probably still feels like that. And they're like in their 50s, almost 60s. And I had realized that like, oh, we're just all a mess for a really long time until we just kind of like feel comfortable in our mess, you know? And that really is such a liberating feeling, I gotta say. Like, I feel so liberated knowing that I can believe in my head that everything is going to go to hell and not make myself feel like I shouldn't believe that, you know? Like, if everything's going to hell, then everything's going to hell, you know? I had so many moments in my life where I tried to convince myself that the feeling of anxiety was an indication that something was wrong with me. Girl, nothing is wrong with me. That is a normal feeling. Do I feel it more often than probably most people? Yes, that's why there is a sense of not normal that I'm trying to fix and I'm trying to kind of cope with. But for the most part, that feeling of anxiety and that feeling of being afraid is something completely okay. I feel anxiety because I am doing things that I had never done before, and I'm expected to do good at it. I'm expecting myself to do good at it. And not every single time do I actually end up being good. You know? Like, I don't know. I just felt like I needed to come up here and I needed to talk because I sometimes use this time to like remind myself, like, hey, girl, you are perfectly fine where you are right now. These are the quote unquote stems. I don't know how that's working out, but we'll see. I hope you guys are enjoying so far. But in my cute little session, I wanted to talk about that my anxiety and specifically relating to how it has made me feel dumb, how is that it has made me feel worthless and unseen and so many negative things and how I'm trying to combat it. But just like you, I am trying to figure it out too. I don't ever want to be anywhere trying to convince everyone else that I have it all together because I don't. I I do not have not even half of the things together that I feel like I was supposed to have together at this age. If younger me was to look at me right now, she'd be like, "Girl, what's going on? Are you okay? Do you have like I thought we would have it all figured out by now." I thought we would have it all figured out by now. I tell myself that a lot. Like, I thought at this age you would know more. You would be in a different place. You would do more. I am fulfilling accomplishments that I had never thought I would fulfill. And I think that's something to be
so proud of that I would never take it away from me. Like, if I'd go back and younger me would be unsatisfied, I think I'd be more disappointed in younger me because she should be more than satisfied as to where I'm at right now in my life. I'm doing something I never thought in my life I would do. I wanted to create a YouTube channel since I was probably like 12 or 13 years old. Since I found YouTube and fell in love with it and started subscribing to a bunch of people that now either have retired from YouTube or have made a successful YouTube channel and have moved on to do other things. And if I would have had the courage that I have today when it comes to making like videos and things, I would have been in a different place in my life. I needed to figure out who I was and what my voice was before I actually got on the platform. I feel like I see a whole bunch of videos now where it encourages everybody to record their life, put it on YouTube, build your YouTube channel, do all of those things, and it'll work out. Like, in the end, everything will work out. And I wholeheartedly believe that. Being scared is something completely okay. So instead of not doing it because you're scared, literally do it because you're scared. Start doing things scared. My Instagram bio is do it scared because my first video ever, I did it terrified. If I would have had the courage to do things even with rejection and even with the feeling that people were going to start judging me or people were going to start like saying things about me if I put myself online, I was just blocking my own blessings. Because what's the point of thinking like, oh, people are going to hate me, people are not going to enjoy my content, people are going to bully me at school, which is true. Kids can be mean. Don't get it twisted. Kids can definitely be mean. But also, like, why would we let another person's judgment control whether or not we end up being happy with our lives, you know? Like, we are perfect beings as we are. If your goal in life is to be a supermodel, if your goal in life is to be a writer, a drawer, a artist, a doctor, whatever it may be, start doing the things that you need to do to like be exactly that. Don't let anyone or any self-doubt ever make you feel like what you're doing in life isn't enough, you know? So many people leave this earth literally feeling like they had wasted their time. Throughout my last about month and a half of posting and just doing things, I had realized that like no one is in your world or no one's in your head but you. No one is going to limit you besides yourself. Nobody has any control over your decisions besides you. Whether people approve of the things you do, whether people care about the things you do or not, you should still do them because who knows where it can lead you. Whether you gain great success or you gain knowledge, you don't lose time. You are just simply going off of a feeling that could possibly make your life change for the better. I speak to you as if I could go back and speak to myself. My limiting beliefs about my abilities left such a hole in my life. I wanted to please everyone and I wanted to make sure everyone liked me. And I forgot whose life I'm living. Like, girl, it is I. Like, I'm the one that's supposed to be happy. I'm supposed to be the one happy with the life that I have. So many people have passed away in my recent life that it I have seen such a constant reminder this year of gratitude and love and everything in between. Please, it, I'm not a professional. I think I've said it like 14 times. I'm not a professional. So don't judge me. If it doesn't look pretty, I apologize. I'm just having fun. And I think having fun is something that perfectionism takes away. Anyway, okay, I gotta make it look a little bit more tulipy. Just imagine these are like abstract tulips. If it's something positive but scary, I think that's when you know that you have to do it. If it's something that you say, if I could only do it, do it. Who knows where it's gonna take you? I think I struggle between making my channel something that I can possibly see growth and um, monetization and whatever over, and just the idea of having fun. And I think my conclusion after this week is that I'm going to leave it to whoever feels like joining, and I'm going to leave it to my audience to decide what ends up happening with the state of my channel. But I'm going to continue to pursue this passion because my younger self, my inner self, has never felt more seen than ever before. I'm trying to stick to the idea that from now on, all of my silent promises to myself will no longer be silenced. I will no longer allow the self-doubt that I have had limit the possibilities that I have in my life. We can fix anything that happens to us. We can change our reality with the snap of a finger. And we should prioritize the enjoyment of our process. We should no longer think of things as like, if it doesn't work out, everything is for nothing and I will never be anything and life sucks and I'm a failure and blah, 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 blah. Inner monologue of bullshit I've told myself throughout all of my life. I remember I was just like, at the age of 25, if I'm not married and I don't have children by 27 and I'm not graduated from medical school and I'm not rich by 25, I haven't made it in my life. Girl, yes, you have. You have made it because you have found love, you have found passion, you have found pain. You experienced everything. You've experienced so much. And glory be to God to be able to do that and to wake up and to be privileged enough to feel like everything is ending and the world's going to go, ghost. Like, it is a privilege to feel the way you feel. It's a privilege to feel. It's a privilege to do things and not know the outcome and still put your head down and just grind, It is a privilege. I felt like this year was the year that I was chosen to just get closer to God, closer to my life, closer to my family. I felt like I took a lot of that for granted because I thought that I was going to have it for my entire life. And that's just not the case. People pass away, people move on, people, make different decisions in their lives. There's people that we don't get to see as often as we used to. I used to, me and my best friend, who is still my best friend, hey, so Paul, we used to see each other every single day. And when I moved, we had to pivot so heavily. We went from not only just talking every day, texting every day, seeing each other almost every day, going to the same college, going to the same high school. Like, genuinely, that was someone that I saw probably more than my own family members. From that to texting like once or twice a week and not having the same amount of time to just hang out, not being able to just go somewhere and hang out with him like for a small period of time. Like, I found the love of my life, and the first person that I thought about telling that to was so Paul. And my usual version of being able to go and tell him that is literally like, let me go and pick him up and let's go to some coffee shop or let's go shopping together and talk about it. And we had to make a giant pivot because that was no longer our reality. It will be again one day, but for right now, that's not the reality that we live in. And so it was super scary to go through. It was really, really, really scary because I felt like, oh, maybe now that I'm moving, I'm going to lose everyone. Everything's going to be difficult. People are going to forget about me. And then with that feeling and the feeling of being different in a new place, I felt like instead of enjoying the new process of figuring out my new environment, I was just mourning the past that I had beforehand. But we aren't in the same place that we were before because we had to take the opportunity to see what life had to bring. And we can't do that if we stay in the same place forever. I am so happy to be where I am. I think I said that I'm so happy like 4 billion times, but I want you guys to understand that like it's such a rarity for me to even say that I was happy, that I am happy, that the world is, that everything is okay. Like, it's very difficult for me to acknowledge that things aren't always going to be difficult. Make that channel, film that video, do it on your phone, post the reel, get comfortable, and document your life. This year, Bad Bunny came out with an album that absolutely revolutionized my brain. The album is called I Should Have Taken More Photos, and I feel like during my last 5 years of being in this country, I felt like I was taking photos of just myself and I wasn't taking photos of the experiences that I was having. Because now I have to tell my children what it was like to live here through the basis of just my memory. And I can't show them what DR really feels like because my parents also had to do the same thing. Well, they couldn't show us what DR feels like. They had to tell us. And I wasn't able to appreciate like DR for what DR is until I moved here and experienced so many different things. I was sad, I was happy, I was lonely, I was every emotion possible in this country. I grew so much as a person. I'm so different. I was able to find myself. I lost myself. I found myself. I lost myself again, and I constantly keep finding myself, finding a new version of me. And I wish the Mirta from back then would have taken more photos and been more honest with all of the experiences that I was having, because I would have had more to show from this experience if I would have acknowledged it as the good experience that it actually was. To conclude this, I'm about to show you guys, I'm about to be done it. Though it's not a perfect drawing, or I mean a perfect painting, please understand, like I said before, not a professional. Um and I want you to know that I painted something that made me happy. But to conclude, um, I wanted to get on here and really talk about my life and my experiences and my anxiety, because I felt like this was the way that I could express myself through like a video diary and have it somewhere. I felt like it was important for me to break the cycle of disappointing myself by not doing things like filming, not doing things like recording my experiences in my life. And I also did this so that if anybody out there needs to listen to a podcast form video of, you know, someone appreciating the down, if you needed anyone to tell you that being at quote unquote rock bottom is a good thing, and then I'm hopefully the one that does that for you. Rock bottom is okay. Rock bottom may have a basement. I just want you to know it can possibly get worse. And if it does, it's still going to be okay. There was this book that I was reading where like the quote was like, everything is going to be okay at the end, and if it's not okay, it means that it's not the end. I love that. Because it gives you a sense of hope that things are going to be fine, and that where you are and that what you're doing are going to be okay. I really enjoyed doing this a lot because I felt like I was doing something that made me happy without any real reason besides the idea of just relaxing. And I think it is so important and so necessary to do things that make you feel good, literally make you feel good, even if there isn't a real reason behind it. And I'm not an expert at this. I'm not an expert at painting. I'm not an expert at the creative outlets that I love, but I am slowly striving to do something different and to really focus on the things that truly make me happy. There are so many things that I have done in my life that have been to please and to have people be happy with me. And there are so many things in my life that I didn't do for myself. I have let too many silent promises go by. And this is my year to make sure that the promises that I make first, that are in alliance to my wants, and that I won't forget about me when making any decision, that I'm going to put my wants and my needs at the forefront, because I need this time to process and to grow and to learn who I really am without the part of me that feels that it's necessary to do things in order to make people like me. I kind of want to just like me and do things for me, you know? So hopefully I end up doing more of these videos if you guys end up liking it. And I know I'll have another sit down video soon, as well as more content that is a bit less like with every noise of the world outside. But I really did enjoy doing this video anyway, and I hope you guys did too. I hope that you enjoyed this time with me. I really enjoyed this time. I really enjoyed painting and just talking and kind of relieving the unnecessary amount of stress that I had before I started this video. I feel like now I can tackle the rest of my day and do it with a bit more ease. And I think I accomplished that goal. Please like and subscribe and be interactive in the comments. Tell me if you liked it. Tell me if you didn't like it. Tell me your own life experiences. Do you have me in the background like podcast style? Did you actually sit here and watch the video? Did you see the painting? Just let me know, and let me know if I should do more videos like this, or how other what other content you guys are thinking or expecting from me. I hope you guys have really enjoyed this, and see you next time.